Hi, thanks so much for joining in. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit. My name is Alex Matthew and with me is Mahima Vajrajani. We will take you through the next 1 hour of trade. And it is not looking great at the start of trade on Monday, but at least it's not looking as bad as it looked on Friday.
Absolutely.
And it certainly is looking better than it was even an hour back. So you've come back from the low point of the day, particularly on the broader markets. Of course, we're heading towards just about treading water on the benchmark Nifty 50, but even for the mid-cap index and for the small-cap index, we've come off about 1% or thereabouts from the low point of the day. Small-cap index still trading with cuts of about 2% or so, and the market breadth tilted very heavily in favor of the declines even today. Let's pull up the sectoral indices, and you will see that IT perhaps the only pocket of strength. There you go. So about 0.6% for the IT index, auto index up about 1/3%. Remember, in trade on Friday, these were the two indices that were the most heavily punished. Both of these indices going home with losses about 4% at the index level, and you had individual stocks that lost more than that. The likes of Mahindra and Mahindra, as well as Tata Consultancy Services, Persistent Systems, LTI Mindtree from the IT pack, all losing quite a considerable amount of value in trade on Friday. Some of those stocks bouncing back, but the strength that you saw right at the start was short-lived. I want to start very quickly on the questions today because we've got several of them that have come through. And by the way, you see the numbers on your screen. At the bottom of your screen, you see the landline number. That's where you can call us. On the top of your screen, you see the WhatsApp number. That's where you can message us. And we've both got our screens open. We can speak to you directly. On that note, let me introduce our experts for the day. We've got Saurabh Jain as well as Brijesh Ail joining us this morning. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining in, for taking the time. Saurabh joining us right now at the start. Saurabh, I'll start with the first question. And in fact, it's a question on Accelya solutions. And I know that we get a lot of questions from our retail investor viewers on stocks that are in the broader markets, and a lot of these stocks have given up quite a bit of ground over the course of the last 3 months or so. So this particular stock, we've got Parag, who's writing in from Mumbai itself. He's got 49 shares that he's bought in this counter at an average price of 1,535. He's asking what the outlook is. Do you have a specific view on this?
Basically, the stock is from the software category, and if you look at the numbers, there was no growth, or maybe year on year there was some kind of a degrowth. So it's a correction largely because of the weak operational performance as well as the higher valuation. See, all of the market is overvalued, and that is why I think a lot of selling is coming. Now some pockets are getting a bit lighter, but still I feel that companies like Accelya, I think one should not, average more or looking to buy more. In fact, on the rise, one should exit.
This is the view coming in on Accelya Solutions from Saurabh. We have our first caller for the day. Rajesh from Hyderabad is calling in. Rajesh, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Yeah, good morning. I want to know about Vijaya Diagnostics.
Okay, and your view is long-term or short-term? Have you seen the fundamentals of the company or the charts?
Yes. I want to invest for long-term.
For long-term. Okay, Saurabh, Vijaya Diagnostics is the counter. What's the view like?
The healthcare space is looking quite good to me. There is no, competition kind of a thing as of now. If you look at the numbers are showing good growth, but at the same time, the valuations are on the higher side. It is trading about 13 times to book value. But since it's a good company with a good growth prospects, I would suggest to buy not in a single fashion, but in a staggered manner in the market corrections and hold for the long term.
Buy in staggered manner, seeing the corrections, and hold from a longer term perspective is the view on Vijaya Diagnostics. The next counter that we're talking about is Ashoka builcon. Joseph from Qatar has purchased around 500 shares at an average price of 254. And he's saying that he's seen the stock decline since he's bought, and he's sitting on a loss of around 44,000 odd rupees. He wants to now know whether he can consider averaging them, or should he be prudent selling them at this point and booking losses? His perspective is from 6 to 12 months. So, Brijesh, welcome and a very good morning to you. Ashoka builcon is the counter, and what are the charts looking like for the next 6 to 12 months?
Hi, morning. So basically the damage is already done. So the selling came from the levels of 220 levels, and it's almost the halfway it's already done. I think we may see another 15-20 points kind of a thing. It is likely to come close to 150, 145 levels. So I would advise to, if he can average, then 140, 150 would be the range where he should be averaging, and then there can be some pullback rally where he can exit.
So that's the view on Ashoka builcon. Look for avenues for you to exit. We've got the next caller. Bhagyaraj is calling us from Hyderabad. Hi Bhagyaraj, how can we help you today?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for this call. I want to buy Jyoti structures for 1 lakh rupees at 16 rupees.
And why this company?
Yeah, I want to get into power sector. That is the reason.
Okay, so it's engaged in electricity, transmission, distribution and substation. I get that. But the thing is that Bhagyaraj, it's a very small company, just under 2,000 crore market capitalization. And the question is, if you're buying right now, are you buying for the long term, or is it a short term trade that you're looking for?
Yeah, minimum 3 to 5 years of holding period.
Okay, so have you studied some of the other companies in the power space?
No.
Okay, so let me ask from the fundamental basis, Saurabh. Then we're talking about one company, Jyoti Structures. It's currently trading with cuts of about 3%, 16 rupees or thereabouts. But if you were to play the power story, there are so many stocks that you can look at in the large cap, even in the mid cap space. If you're talking about the generation companies, or you're talking about the transmission and distribution companies, or you're talking about the equipment manufacturers, would you pick another stock or a combination of stocks for the next 3 to 5 years that can give you better prospects? Or is this company, Jyoti Structures, one that you would buy?
Well, the company is showing good growth in the recently quarterly earnings, but if you look at the shareholding patterns, there is no promoter as such. 97% of the holding is with the public. It's a very small company. I would rather suggest to play the power sector through transmission companies like Kalpataru or maybe KEC International, or for that matter, if you believe that the electricity consumption will show this year and the next year the similar growth trends of 8 to 9% volume growth, then I think utilities like maybe SJVN or NTPC make sense too.
All right, so that's the view with respect to Jyoti Structures. The next counter that we're talking about is, what's the counter? GE Shipping. And Raghunath Iyengar is the viewer, and he has a query on GE Shipping. He's holding around 34 odd shares at 1500 average price, and he wants a long-term view on this particular counter. He's from Bengaluru. Saurabh, I'll stick with you for this counter as well. GE Shipping, what's the outlook like?
See, it's a very old company and the promoters have a proven track record. Since we are passing through a rough phase in terms of global geopolitics, but I think this company stands tall. So while the stock has corrected, I think one can buy it for the long term in a staggered manner.
Right, so that's a view on GE Shipping. And just want to very quickly go across to Brijesh on the charts as well. If you bought at levels of 1,150, what are the prospects on the charts?
It's slightly negative because it has been correcting for so many weeks and there is no reversal. Only the thing is that we are in the oversold zone. So that can be one possible reason why we might like to take the long bets. But still, there are a high chance that 800 level will be broken and 750 can be tested. So at least another 50-60 points kind of damage can be seen. So if we can understand this and then buy or maybe average, that is advisable.
Okay, all right. So that's a comprehensive view both on the fundamentals and on the technical basis on GE Shipping. Stock is down as much as 40% over the last 6 months. Gaurav is calling us from Delhi, and Fact is the name of the counter that we're talking about. It's under quite a bit of pressure in trade today. He's bought at levels of 728. The stock is currently trading at 626 or thereabouts. Gaurav, good morning. How can we help you today?
Good morning, boss. How are you doing?
Very well. Please go ahead with your question.
So my question is Fact. I just accumulated it very recently, I think day before yesterday or something.
Yes.
I thought I'll, manage like how everyone is suggesting, like hedge my positions over daily, like. But till what point? It's already, I'm at 15%, below.
Yeah.
I do understand it's a bit stock. So should I keep continuing like hedging my position in this? Should I sell it, get out of it, take 20,000 loss, or yeah?
So help me understand the thesis here, Gaurav. When you bought FACT the day before yesterday, did you buy it from the perspective of more than 1 year? Did you buy it based on the fundamentals?
Honestly, so I started putting in portfolio. I've started putting in like a mid and top 50, Nifty 50. So I've started investing. I liquidated some assets, and I've started I keep pumping in money because I believe in our stock market, and over the period of 6 months, I can see it going up and up only. So this is the right time, and I have not only this, I've invested in KPI Tech, BBL, Bajaj Auto, Zomato, PC Jewelers, Reliance, Bharti Airtel, Jubilant Foods, and many others. So I have a diverse portfolio, but mainly it's from Nifty 50 and top 100.
Yeah.
So my positioning is for long, but it necessarily means if one stock and all I have to cut my losses, so I don't mind.
I got it. All right. So let me then go across to Saurabh, since you've kind of given us a flavor of what your portfolio looks like and the names that you've selected. Seemingly, Saurabh, his gravitation is towards the larger end of the spectrum, which is advisable at this juncture, right? Because of the kind of cracks you're seeing in the broader markets. But I think tactically, he's looking at investing in fertilizers and chemicals, Travancore, or FACT as it is called. The stock is taking a beating in trade today. What should he do with this specific stock?
Normally, seasonality prevails in terms of in case of fertilizer stock. Whether it is too early to take a call on how the monsoons will plan out, but talking specifically on the fact on the operational fronts in the last 4 quarters, the company has shown weak number. I think it is a negative growth on the trailing 12-month side, and moreover on the valuation side, it is quite expensive. If you want to remain in the same sector, then I would suggest to exit from the fact and better go for companies like Chambal Fertilizer.
So that's the view with respect to fertilizers as a space. The next counter that we're talking about is M&M. Shishir from Akola is holding around 723 shares of M&M at 2931 a piece. He wants a short-term view on this, and he wants to know whether he should book the loss at current levels. He's sitting on a loss of roughly 2 lakh odd rupees, or add more at existing positions. Brijesh, I'll come to you, with respect to the auto sales numbers, this month, the passenger vehicle also saw a growth of 18%, and tractors also saw a growth of around 19 odd percent. So good numbers, which is why today the stock is up, but overall he's sitting on a loss of around 2 lakh odd rupees. So what's the view like with respect to charts from a short-term perspective? Should he book loss or wait more, to, see some of his losses being recovered?
So the view, purely from the charts point of view, there has been a range breakout 2 weeks before. Breakdown 2 weeks before. That was mainly because of the EV thing which came out. So chartically it looks weak, but then if I need to hold if I'm having a position, I would be holding it, because I believe somewhere closer to maybe another 5-6% kind of an odd correction, it will find some support, and it's already moving towards the oversold zone from the weekly time frame. So not too much of damage from the current levels, maybe 2500, 2450, that could be the maximum correction. And I would suggest to hold, and if possible, do some averaging over those points, and then most probably 2800, 2900 can be the possible bounce back, and I think he can get a very good exit.
All right, so that's the view with respect to M&M. Our next caller, Anil Sharma, is calling in from Jammu and Kashmir. Anil, a very good morning to you. How can we help you? Anil, I can hear you. Go ahead with your query. Okay, I think we've lost his feed. Okay, let's go to our next query. The next counter that we're talking about is CG Power. This is Basil from New Delhi who is writing in. He's holding around 2,000 odd shares and of CG Power, and he's sitting at around 11% loss is what he's saying, and he has a 5-year term horizon. Saurabh, I'll come to you on this one. CG Power is the counter. What's the view like?
After correcting so much, the stock looks still expensive, trading at approximately 25 times to book value. But since the company is performing well, and the industry is likely to perform well, and you have a holding period of 5 years, I would suggest a hold.
All right, let's take the next question, and this is a question on Jamna Auto. Shivani is writing in from Mumbai, and she's got 100 shares of Jamna Auto that she's bought with a 1-year time frame at a price of 140 rupees per share. It's halved from that point. In fact, over the last 12 months or so, it is down about 46% or so. She's wondering what she should do. Should she add more at this current level? She would still like to hold on. So Brijesh, on the charts, what should she do?
It's very difficult to suggest whether to add, because see, it is broken in such a way that even if we add the bounce back, I'm not pretty confident what kind of, as of now there is no reversals which I can see in Jamna Auto from the long term perspective. So adding, it's not advisable. Maybe she can wait for the hold this position, and then with overall market scenario she can again review and take the call. But then I would ask, averaging is not an option, but she might hold the position as of now.
All right, so that's the view with respect to Jamna Auto, and hold is the view coming in from a shorter term perspective. The next caller, Shankar from Chennai, is calling in. Shankar, a very good morning to you. I believe you have a query on Varun Beverages.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, I bought regularly past 20 days, 5, 6 or 7 little number of Varun Beverages shares.
Okay.
Last first 15 days, I bought totally 90 shares. My average rate is 457. I bought 500 to 441. Sorry, yes, you are correct.
Okay.
I am ready to hold 5 years, 6 years, or still when India will reach the 5 trillion economy.
Okay.
Shall I continue to buy daily?
All
little bunch of shares?
Okay, got your query, Shankar. Saurabh, I'll come to you. So he basically wants to buy them in staggered manner. I believe buying them daily might not be a good option, but you can suggest in what kind of staggered manner can he add Varun Beverages to his portfolio.
Yeah, I think first of all, it's a good company having it's a marquee player in the cold drink segment, and also added Namkeens to its portfolio. Now it's a pan-India player, and the valuations have corrected. Now it is quoting about 15 times to book value. So there is a little bit of sense in the market that because of the Reliance entering with the Campa, there will be a severe amount of competition in the summer season. While the summers are likely to be hotter this year compared to the last year, I think the business will flourish for the companies in the beverages segment. But can't say about the competition what will be happen in the future. Now coming back to his question that how can he buy in a staggered manner, I think after every 5 to 7% decline, you can add some quantity.
Okay. All right. Let's take the next question on Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. And Parag Malhotra is writing in from New Delhi, and he wants to get a technical analysis on the stock. He's accumulated 1,200 shares at a price of 44.1, and the stock is currently trading about 2.5% lower. Incidentally, there was an update over the course of the weekend where this company is going to be selling, if I'm not mistaken, over 300 crore rupees of bad loans to asset reconstruction companies, and that should reflect positively in the fourth quarter, at least to the extent of lower provisioning requirements, or at least writing back of certain provisions that it has likely made on these loans. But on the technical basis, if you've got a time frame of about 6 to 12 months, does it make sense, Brijesh, to average at this level, to hold, or to exit?
Averaging is not an option, because we are not having any positive view on this particular stock, and maximum bounce which we can see somewhere to 36-38 level. So not too much of upside. So if he gets the opportunity to see 36-38, then booking loss is something which I would advise.
Okay. All right. So booking loss is the advice that Brijesh has for you on the charts. Dheeraj is calling us from Hyderabad. Hi Dheeraj, how can we help you today?
Good morning, sir. My query is regarding Reliance Industries.
Okay.
So I'm holding 350 shares of Reliance Industries at the 1245 rupees.
Yes. Okay.
Should I add more, or should I add at current levels, or should I wait for some more time?
Help me with your time frame, Dheeraj. When did you buy this, and how long would you like to hold it for?
Like 2 months back, sir. I would like to hold for another 6 months.
Okay, so relatively short-term view is what you're seeking. The stock is under a considerable amount of pressure in trade today as well, perhaps to a certain extent contributing. In fact, why don't we pull up the contribution for the Nifty 50 very quickly and see how much Reliance is contributing on the downside. There you go. As much as 60 points on the downside being contributed by Reliance Industries, another 32 points odd with HDFC Bank, which incidentally was gaining in trade on Friday. It's losing ground today. But Dheeraj, let me get you a view from Brijesh on the charts. I guess to a certain extent, Brijesh, you can expect that when the benchmark itself starts showing an uptrend, you can expect Reliance Industries to participate. So it's an open question as to when that will occur. What would you do with this? 1,245 is the buy price. Would you buy more from the perspective of the next 6 months though?
Yeah, so definitely we'll buy it, but then for buying, I will wait for the 1,000 levels to be seen, because today being the first day of the month, and I can see some pressure on the Reliance, and directionally also I believe some more downside can be there. Reliance as well as the index. So if you if you discount that, then I believe somewhere to 1,000 is what I would be waiting for that opportunity. And whenever it comes close to 1,000, I think I will like to add or maybe average the trade in Reliance.
All right, so that's the view with respect to RIL. The next query is a very interesting one. Angad is asking whether he can add Ultratech, Polycab and KEI now. Saurabh, I'll stick with you for this one, because after Ultratech's announcement of, entering the cables and wires segment, all of these counters, Polycab, KEI, etc. fell to, a large extent. They've recovered a tad bit on Friday, but not to the extent they've fallen. What do you reckon? Is this the right time to enter these wires and cable space and as well as add Ultratech also to the portfolio? And how do you see competition panning out for all of these existing cables and wires players?
It is a kind of a bearish market in the last 4 or 5 months. Every news when it comes, markets do react very negatively. In case of Ultratech announcement, I think it will take another 3 years for the product to come into the market and will give some kind of competition to the existing players. While the existing players' stock prices have corrected a lot, and I think the valuations have also corrected. So I think right now it's a bearish market. Can't say whether the stocks KA or Polycab correct more, but yes, one can chip in a smaller quantities with the declines coming in the market. With respect to the investing in the Ultratech cement, I think it is a marquee player in the cement segment, and things are surely going to improve next fiscal with the government expenditure coming up in the full swing and the private capex coming in. So in my sense, he can go with the Ultratech too.
And specifically, very quick answer here, Saurabh, between Polycab, KEI, RR Kabil, all of these stocks have gotten battered at the end of last week. Which would you buy in order of preference?
Havells is a much good portfolio in terms of lighting and the product portfolio in terms of fans and all, and they have also air conditioner with them, so it gives a kind of a security with respect to the product portfolio. Apart from that, it is a market player in the cable segment. So apart from these three, I would rather suggest to go with the Havells.
Havells, okay, okay, all right. So Havells is the one that you should look at. Let's take the next question, and this is from Raju. He's asking about Apollo Tyres, which he's bought at levels of 373 rupees per share. 300 shares is what he's got, and he's wondering what to do with this. I will go across to you, Brijesh, on this one. He's in a very small profit. If I remember correctly, on the fundamentals, all of these tire companies were under pressure because of raw material pressure. A lot of these companies saw margin contraction in the quarter gone by. The stocks have declined. In fact, even last week, Apollo Tyres down about 8.4% or thereabouts. Would you buy at this juncture though, Brijesh?
Yeah, I would take a buy trade, because from the technical, there is some divergence which is happening, and I expect a pullback rally. If the market settles, then this can go back to 425, 450 levels. So definitely this is one of the favorable risk reward opportunity. One should take the long bet.
All right, one should take a long bet in Apollo Tyres is the view coming in from Brijesh. The next caller is Vineet from Bengaluru. Vineet, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Hey, good morning. I had asked, I wanted to know about Ireda, IREDA,
right,
which is actually renewable energy sources company. I think it's a government-aided company.
Yeah.
So I have been holding this Ireda shares for around 7 to 8 months.
Okay.
Just want to know, I mean, I have bought somewhere around 400 shares and I've been waiting to go up since then, but it's not going up. Should I still hold or just buy and make an average?
Right.
Or just it's not going to go up and sell it for a current price? Or just wondering what to say. I mean,
Understood.
what to do.
Right. So you saw the fundamentals before buying the stock, is it?
Yeah, I did.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Saurabh, I'll come to you. Ireda is the counter. What's the view like and what's the outlook like?
It's a very good company showing good growth, but at the same time, the valuations were on the higher side, and now the valuations have somehow, you can say, has come to normal levels. I think if he has a long-term view, he can stick with it, but I would not suggest to average on it.
Okay, all right. So average, is that the right call? Average, is that what you said?
I would not suggest at
you
this
would
point.
not. Okay, you would not, but you would hold on to what you have?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So that's a view on Ireda. Okay, so Brijesh, I understand you have to leave us, and thank you so much for joining us and for answering all the questions you did. Viewers, we have to slip into a very quick break. We will be back on the other side to take more of your questions, so do stay tuned.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the trading also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market.
The private capital expenditure, from where I sit, I see that private capital expenditure is happening.
Any tariff coming on Indian goods will be passed on to American consumers and Indian companies will not be affected.
We feel fairly good about the fact that we can compete with various folks.
Actually, instead of Viksit Bharat, we should call it Re-Viksit Bharat.
भाषण सुना उसके बाद मेरा पहला एक्रोनिम निकाला मैंने, वो था RRR, रिस्पॉन्सिव, रिस्पॉन्सिबल, रिफॉर्मिस्ट, और मैंने कहा रिवॉल्यूशनरी. हाउ डिड यू अराइव एट दिस नंबर?
Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit, a show that gets all your stock related queries answered, whether they're fundamental or technical. For you viewers who are just tuning in, you can either call us or WhatsApp us on the numbers that are flashing on your screen right now. We're also joined by Ajit Mishra, SVP Research, Reliance Broking, is joining us now. Very good morning to you, Ajit. I'll take the next query. Aditya from Chennai is writing in, and he's a long-term value investor is what he's saying. His query is on Hindustan Petroleum. He's bought around 600 odd shares in the last 2 months, and his timeline is up to March 2027. He's invested at the price of 388 and he wants to know whether this is a good time to buy more in the current market situation to average, or should he sell now and re-enter, and if yes, at what price? Now, since he's a long-term investor, but his question basically is, at the current level, should he average or sell and enter at the current levels? Ajit, I'll come to you. On the charts, how is HPCL faring and what's the right strategy to adopt?
Good morning, Mahima. So, Mahima, since he has already a decent amount of investment in this particular stock, and we are seeing that the trend is still negative for most of the OMCs, including HPCL. Stock has recently slipped below its crucial support zone on the weekly chart as well, around 300 areas. So there is a possibility that the stock might, drift further lower. But since the overall, reading says that the stock is extremely oversold, so possibility of some consolidation is also high. So maybe we can see some consolidation around 280 to 300 zone in the coming days before any meaningful next direction move. So as of now, I would not recommend him to add more. He can stick to his existing positions, or fresh buying any dip towards 260 or a reversal above 320. Only in that case, he should attempt for adding more to his existing position, otherwise avoid.
Okay, all right. So that's a view on HPCL, and a comprehensive one at that. I believe we've got a next caller on, and Suresh is calling us from Chennai asking about the hospitality space, I should say. I got it all wrong. Hi, Suresh. Good morning, and how can we help you today?
Good morning to each one of you on the call there. My query is regarding East India Hotel, EIH Associated Hotel.
Yes.
Yes, I am at a profit level, but I've been noticing that the price has fallen from like upwards of 350 to around 307.
Yes.
So my concern is it going to slide further, or can I say, hold on to it for the next 6 months to 12 months horizon, so that it goes back to the 350 plus range.
Okay, so since it's a relatively short-term question, let me go across to Ajit on this one. Ajit, on the charts, as he's pointed out, he's still in the green, but he's concerned it's only about 7 rupees or so from his buy price. So should he hold on from the perspective of 6 months to 12 months?
Right, Alex. So, yes, the sector, in fact, most of these stocks, if you'll see that, be it Indian Hotel, Taj GVK, EIH, they are doing fairly well in comparison to the other counters in the mid-cap and small-cap space. But the situation is that still we are seeing that rotational selling pressure is emerging on, across sectors, and that might cascade to hospitality also in the next, possible downmove. So my recommendation would be to maintain his buying price as a stop loss, or around 300 area in EIH, because it's a low volume counter. So possibly a break below 300 might result in a decline toward 270. So for fresh entry, a dip towards 270 is a good area to look out for. Or, in case if it manages to hold the 300 level, then he can stay put.
All right, so that's the view with respect to EIH, and we again joined by Anil Sharma, who's from Jammu and Kashmir. Anil, a very good morning to you. I believe you have a query on Voltas, and me and Alex were discussing that I don't think you need ACs in Jammu and Kashmir at all. Okay, I think we've lost his feed again, but we'll ask him this question certainly.
Why don't we ask the question in any case?
Yeah.
And usually a lot of people have this thesis, right? Mahima, you consume products and you think, okay, you understand the company, you understand the demand, especially if you consume it yourself.
Right.
But then it's ironic that somebody tuning in from J&K is thinking of the AC. Maybe he understands exactly what it means to stay cool in summer, as a result of which he says practically nowhere else in the country is going to be as comfortable.
I think he's already seen that heat waves are already being issued in Feb itself in Mumbai, and I think AC sales are definitely going up, and that's why he wants to know whether it's the right time to buy Voltas or not. On the charts, Ajit, what do the charts suggest? Because for the share price itself, if we can pull up the 6 months intraday chart as well, they've seen a certain downtick, and this is because as compared to Blue Star, they've lost market share as well in Q3. But with respect to charts, how is it faring, and what are the resistance and support levels that you're observing?
Right. So, Mahima, it's been almost 2-3 months now that the stock has been witnessing correction. But the good part is that after retesting its neckline area of this previous consolidation zone around 1200 mark, the last week we were seeing gradual recovery despite the overall negative sentiments in the market. Last week also we saw the short unwinding plus the stock reclaiming its short-term averages, and today we are seeing the impact of it. Means the stock is up in a down market by around 1.5%. So I feel that there could be a bit of time-wise correction or consolidation from the current levels, but seems like the base is in place now. So with stop at 1150, definitely he can go ahead and accumulate the stock in the mentioned range around 13 and 1350 for the potential target of 1500, 1550 in the near future.
All right, there's an interesting question, and I know I want to talk about DLF next, but there's an interesting question coming from Jagdish. And apart from the stock that he wants to know about, he said, when will this market correction end approximately? And the complete portfolio green to red has taken place. And I can only commiserate. And unfortunately, all I can say is that almost everybody else tuning in is also seeing similar situation playing out on a portion at least of their portfolio. I'm not sure if Ajit has a view on this one. Is a bottom being found at some stage? Last week we were talking about possibly some signs pointing to a bottom, but then those have fallen through the floor. Ajit, if you can call it that, what are you looking at the charts and suggesting? Because for the Nifty 50, at least now we've gone into oversold, right? If you go by the RSI.
That's true, Alex. In fact, we have seen 5 months of successive decline. The February month, roughly around 5.5% kind of a cut, and the last consolidation range, the decisive consolidation that market witnessed, in the range of 21,800 to 22,500 zone last time in the month of March to June in 2024. We have entered into that category, zone now. So I believe that this area, 21,800, 22,000, is the only hope that we have as of now, considering that it's extremely oversold. We have multiple supports on the weekly charts, be it a trend line or a moving average retracement. So everything is planned or placed, but it's just that market is not at all in a mood to value those support as of now, because last week it was IT which was beaten down badly among the sectors which were holding strong. Now we are only left with banking. So I believe 47,500 mark in the banking is going to be as critical as 21,800 in the Nifty index. So if we manage to hold these levels, definitely there could be a possibility of a rebound.
All right, and hopefully that rebound should come, as soon as possible, and probably the portfolio will again turn back to green.
Right now, today, we are 30 points away from 22,000 on the Nifty 50. And so where does that gash, where does that stop, right?
I know. All right, the next counter that we're talking about is DLF. Pratish has around 85 odd shares bought at 784 a piece, and he wants to know whether he should average at the current levels or not. Saurabh, I'll take this with you. What's the long-term view like for DLF, and do you think he should average out at the current levels?
Well, the real estate sales in the last year was good enough, but this time around, I think it is expected that some kind of an inventory is getting built up in the segment like 4 crore and above, and moreover, higher in that segment. In case of DLF, we have witnessed good amount of sales, even the pre-sales coming in for the Gurgaon. But I think what market is assuming that the same is will not happen in the future. So in my sense, I think if you look at all the real estate stocks, they have topped out in the month of June, and since then we are seeing good amount of correction coming in the real estate stocks. I think the party is over in terms of profitability and the growth in the sales. So my sense is a bit negative. I would suggest avoid.
Void is the view on DLF. All right. Stock down 25%. The next question is from Somnath Roy, who's calling us from Kolkata. Hi Somnath, good morning. How can we help you today?
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Please go ahead.
Actually, my query is that I am holding a stock TCS of 20 shares at the rate of 3369.
Right.
Long-term perspective, looking into the last all the data.
Yeah.
So currently it is 3400 or 3500.
Yes.
So what should be my approach? Should I average it or what to do actually.
Help me understand, Somnath, you bought this at 3369 and this, I would guess that this is quite a while back that you bought this, right? When did you buy it?
1 year back.
1 year back, right? Because it's down about 20-25% odd from the 52-week high, and you're looking to hold this from the long-term perspective, right?
Yeah. Actually, I bought it in a SIP wise. I mean, a systemic invested way I have bought it. So average price it is coming 3369.
Okay, understood. So let me go across to Saurabh on this one, because Saurabh, on Friday we saw a crack in the stock and delivery-based selling very high, right? So over 70% was the delivery-based volume. What would you say about TCS holding at level of 3369? So it's still an attractive price, still upside, or rather still in the green for Somnath. Should he add more at the current level?
I wouldn't suggest to add more, but because this time around, while the IT sector per se is, some kind of a shown outperformance with respect to the other sectors in the market, but this time around also it is expected that the companies, bigger companies, will show higher single digit growth this year too. So we are still waiting for the discretionary spending to come in the US, and normally in the Jan to March quarter, these companies are likely to get what kind of the spending which is likely to come from the companies working in the US. So I would suggest to wait for the March quarter earnings and wait for the guidance, what kind of guidance comes from the management. I think it is a kind of a portfolio stock for the long term. I think it should be a hold.
Hold is the view on TCS from a longer term perspective, and of course Q4 commentary is something to be watched out for. We have our next caller, Vipul from Ahmedabad is calling in. Vipul, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Good morning, madam. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I am Vipul Seth from Ahmedabad, holding Cyient Limited, 35 shares.
Okay.
At the average price of 1785.
Okay.
And is reference to previous discussion. One veteran last week that only God and liars know where is the bottom and top of the market. Can you comment on that?
All right. So interesting one. Ajit, I'll take this up with you. Cyient Limited is the counter. What are the support and resistance levels looking like, and what's the outlook like with respect to the charts?
So Mahima, we have seen a sharp correction in this quarter, means the stock is down roughly around 33% so far, and we are trading below all the major averages when it comes to the multiple time frame as well. So the next support comes around the neckline area of the previous consolidation around 1100, 1120 zone. So if his view is short term, I would recommend him to reduce his position and wait for any dip towards 1100 mark and or any sign of reversal pattern formation. As of now, indications are in the favor of retesting 1100 levels soon, and upside 1300 is going to be the stronger resistance area.
Okay, all right. So that's the view on Cyient. Quite a lot of news flow for Cyient, by the way, with regard to management changes at the end of Q3, and so let's see how that pans out for them in the fourth quarter onwards as well. KV Ramana is writing in from Visakhapatnam, and he's asking about GMR Airport, which he's holding for the last 6 months, and he's bought at levels of 79 or thereabouts. The stock is trading below that at 69 rupees. He's got 650 shares. Should he hold or sell? I'll come back to you, Ajit, on this one. What would you do with this?
So GMR, the pace of decline has reduced, Alex, in the recent times, means the stock is still trading below the short-term averages, but in the last 5 to 10 trading sessions, we are seeing this narrow range consolidation in the range of 68 to 72. So volume have also dried up a bit. So this indicates a kind of a seller exhaustion. Possibly once we break this 71, 72 area, we can see a swift rebound towards 75, 78 levels. So as of now, I would recommend him to stay put with 66 as a stop loss. For fresh buying or adding to his existing position, he can wait for a breakout above 72.
All right, so that's the view with respect to GMR Airports, and hold is the view coming in from Ajit. The next caller, Murli from Bengaluru, is calling in. Murli, a very good morning to you. I believe you have a query on Hyundai Motors.
Exactly. I am holding 40 shares and I have a holding period of about a year.
Okay.
So I need the recommendation whether should I hold or sell.
Okay. Saurabh, I'll quickly come to you on this counter. Hyundai Motors, what's the view like and what's the outlook like?
The car sales did not pan out as when the year started, when the financial year started. Now it has dropped. The projections have dropped below 5% volume growth kind of a thing. So in case of Maruti also, we have seen some kind of a slow sale coming in. For that matter, Hyundai Motor, some kind of variants are doing good. So I feel the whole of the automobile sector, there will be only a few stocks like in the two-wheeler segment like Asher or TVS maybe, or maybe Mahindra will do well. But for the other stocks, we have some kind of a neutral to negative view. So I would suggest rather avoid Hyundai Motor.
Ishan has got the next question on Angel One, and quite a few of these capital market-facing stocks have also taken a beating. This is a stock that he has bought at an average price of 2,701. The investment amount is about 97,000 or thereabouts. The stock is currently trading at 1,987, so he's incurring a loss at this point. He's wondering what to do after the decline today, 8.5% or so. Can a recovery be expected, or is it wise to do a sector rotation and move out from capital market plays? Is a question. It's an interesting question, Ajit. From a chartical perspective, you saw BSE crack on Friday. The stock is under pressure today as well. Angel One under pressure today. I guess the thesis is that some of these capital market players are going to take a beating when the participation is not going to be as strong as it was perhaps 6 months back. So what would you do with something like this? Would you sell and exit?
So Alex, that's true that in the last week itself, most of the platform stocks related to capital markets, BSE, MCX, Angel, all were under pressure. But if you see that overall the outperformance is still intact if you will compare it with the other sector or stocks. So my recommendation is that if the view is short term, anyways, we are seeing pressure across the board. So it's not different to see most of these names also witnessing pressure in the current leg of the decline. For Angel, I believe that 1840, 1830 is just next major area, and possibility of testing that mark is high. So as of now, definitely he can reduce his position, wait for any dip towards 1830, 1840. In case if it manages to hold this area, then he may add to his existing position. Otherwise, he can completely reduce.
All right. So that's the view with respect to all of these capital market players. Angel One down by about 8% as we speak. All right. The next caller, Deep Shah from Kolkata, is calling in. Deep, a very good morning to you. I believe you have a query on HAL. Okay, I think we cannot. Deep, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, go ahead with your query.
Actually, right now I'm holding a few stocks of Hindustan Aeronautics Limited at a valuation of 3807. I'm holding 27 stocks, so I want to hold it further. So I want a recommendation regarding how much more should I buy at this valuation.
All right, and you are a long-term investor, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Saurabh, HAL is the counter. It's corrected quite a bit from its highs. He's holding around 27 odd shares, bought at 3807 a piece, and he wants to average at the current levels. What do you suggest? Should he average at current levels, or should he wait? And what's the view like with respect to HAL, where long-term financials and performance is concerned?
All the PSU stocks saw a good amount of re-rating in the last 3 years, and the valuation correction which is coming in all the defense and PSU stocks. While the valuations have corrected, it has now come to some kind of a normal level. But you have to look at the operational performance also. The growth is not commendable. I mean, commensurating with the kind of the multiple that the stock is trading in. Moreover, some kind of a disappointment also came in with the announcement in the budget, when there was no significant increase in the defense budget. In fact, the last year budget, the government is not going to spend the budgeted amount on the defense side last year of the last year projection. So I would suggest, since he has bought around 3800 level, I would not suggest to buy more, but at the same time, I would suggest a hold for the long term.
For the long term is a view on HAL. We've got the next question from Mangalore, and Movin is writing in. asking about Rain Industries. He's bought 5,000 shares at a price of 145. The stock is currently at 120 or thereabouts, and he's wondering what the view is and what the call is for the next 12 months or 1 year. Ajit, on the charts, would you say that it makes sense to hold?
So Alex, this stock was experiencing a very tight range consolidation, in the last 2 years. Post breakdown in early January, we are seeing that the trend has again, pointing towards further consolidation, and maybe this time the price wise, the correction may also extend towards 100 to 90 zone. So my recommendation is to reduce at current levels or completely exit at current levels, considering that the underperformance is likely to continue, even if the stock finds some support around the current area. It's likely to hover in that range, in the range of 130, 140 on the higher side and around 100 to 90 on the downside.
All right, so that's the view with respect to Rain Industries. The next counter that we're talking about is KRN Heat Exchangers. Vishwanath from Dubai is asking this. He wants to have a view from a longer term perspective. Saurabh, if you have a view on this particular counter, what's the view like and what's the outlook like for the company?
Not covered this stock.
All right, and I don't think we have enough data on the charts as well, Ajit, if I'm not wrong, for KRN.
Yeah, so we have limited data, but comparatively, as per the available information, it still shows positive trend. So as of now, he can stay put if the view is short term with 750 as a stop loss.
Okay, all right. Alexander Cherian is writing in from Kerala and asking about MobiKwik, which he has bought in December. 647.82 is the buy price. Since it's a recent listing, I will go across to Saurabh on the fundamentals. Sharp downtick today as well, down over 4%. What's the view? Did you have a view on the IPO first of all, and would you hold on to this?
These are the new age businesses, very difficult to take a call on how the profitability is likely to pan out. And it's a game with the PE, which PE investors have played well. Since it is a newer listing, I would suggest not to jump in too quickly before looking at the 2 to 3 quarterly earnings. So it's a avoid from my side.
Okay. Is it time to hit the rapid fire segment? All right, so we have time for one more. Adani Ports is the name of the counter. Bhimeshwar is asking 1,164 is the buy price. Should he hold or sell? And this is, let me take it across to Saurabh on the fundamentals. So, Saurabh, it's bearing the brunt of broader based selling, but on the fundamentals, would you hold on to this?
Yes, on the fundamental side, it is one of the good company from the Adani Group. I think the company has shown good growth, and from the long-term perspective, surely it is a hold.
Okay. By the way, a standard disclaimer here, it is part of the Adani Group, Adani Ports, and NDTV Profit also part of the Adani Group. It's time to hit the rapid fire segment. And by the way, this means, gentlemen, that we'll be throwing as many questions as we can over the course of 2 minutes at you. Do keep your answers as concise as possible. Cochin Shipyard, this is a question from Rajendra, who's writing in from Andhra Pradesh. He's bought at levels of 2,755. It's a considerable loss at this point. Would you hold or exit? Would you shift to something like a Reliance Industries? Ajit?
I would recommend to hold with stop at 1100.
All right. Tata Power is the next counter. The person's holding at 420 a piece. Should he continue to hold? Ajit, on the charts?
Book profit or exit, it looks further, weak. Maybe around 320, 310 is something that the stock might test.
Okay, Srinivas from Hyderabad is asking about Ola Electric, bought at a price of 70.26. Would you hold or exit, Saurabh?
Exit.
All right, Tata Motors is the next counter from a longer term perspective. Should the person continue to hold or sell at the current level? Saurabh?
Sell.
Paradeep Phosphates invested a month back. This is Dheeraj who's asking. He's bought at levels of 112.81. He's got a 1 to 2 year time frame. Should he hold or exit? Saurabh?
Exit.
All right. Rajini from Hyderabad is holding 200 shares of Swan Energy at 216 a piece. She's willing to hold this from 1 to 2 years. What's the view like, Saurabh?
Hold.
Okay, Equita Small Finance Bank losing about 40%. Arun wants to know, would you hold or sell? Ajit, on the charts?
Hold and maintain a stop at 50. In case of bounce around 60-65 zone, exit.
All right. Suhail wants to know whether Mukka Proteins is a good counter to enter right now. Ajit, on the charts?
It's not in the coverage, so I can't comment.
Okay, Subex. Border levels of 31 rupees. Pankaj wants to know hold or exit. 2-year time frame. It's been 4 months so far. Saurabh?
Exit.
All right. BSC is the next counter. What are the levels that one should make an entry? Naresh is asking. Ajit, on the charts?
Around 38 to 4,000 he should accumulate.
Okay. Taking a hit today as well, 4.5% down at this point. Saurabh, as well as Ajit, thanks so much for joining in, for answering all the questions that you did. Always a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
All right, and that brings us to the end of this edition of Ask Profit from Mahima and myself and the team that put this show together. Thank you so much for watching. Do stay tuned. Lots more coming up on NDTV Profit.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.